As far as the campaign goes, let me be very clear. This is a 60-day campaign. I had more time to run for the Ward 5 Alderman seat in Somerville than I do for the United States Senate. That was 5,000 people versus 6.5 million. There's no way any human being can do it the way I always do it, which is door knocking and this kind of stuff, getting to meet as many people as I can. I like doing this. This is fun to me. So I can't do it that way. I will do the best I can in the short time that I have. I'm not going to be the best funding candidate. I don't have anybody outside of Massachusetts or any of these big organizations that love me. There's no special group for people who live in two-family homes like I do. You have to fall into different categories, and I don't fall into any. From some of the guys, I'm not from places where there's money like all the rich people in Weymouth. I can't pick up the phone to my neighbor the millionaire and say, hey, neighbor millionaire, give me a lot of money. We work hard at it, and we'll raise enough money to run the campaign. But for any of you who play little cards, I've been playing cards since I was a kid, mostly posts, and stuff like that, in the old bingo days. You don't have to go to the table with the biggest stack of chips. You have to go to the table with enough chips to not be bought out of the game. I will have enough money. I will be probably the least well-funded candidate. That's not the game. I've always been outfunded. Every race I've ever had. I've always been underestimated. I've always been the underdog. As a matter of fact, I joke in this race already. I've already gone from long shot to underdog. That's pretty good. What does that mean? It means my job is to introduce myself to as many people as I can, to ask you to simply open your minds to try to figure this out, which I think you'll do anyway. This is a special election in December. This election will most likely attract only the best voters, and then a smattering of others. The kind of people like you. Why are you here? You're here because you care, because you wanted to hear something. You wanted to figure out who I am. And that's right. That's what you should do, and you should do it for others too. You need to know who you voted for as best you can in this kind of a race. If that happens, if people take the time, and I think they will, to learn about candidates, learn the choices, learn the differences, because the differences, I wish they were massive. I wish I was running against George Bush. That'd be the easiest campaign in the world. The people I'm running against, they're not bad people. They're good people, from what I know of them. I know at least two of them reasonably well. They're good people. But there are differences. Those differences are a little bit more subtle than I would like them. But they're important differences. One of them is experience. One of them is, I think, boldness. You tell me. When we went into the Iraq War, did you not have an opinion? Did you not express that opinion, even if you supported it? Everybody I know that cares about government and politics had an opinion on it and said so. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is how I feel. Why? Because it was important. I think it's critically important when we send young men and women into war. Being right is always good, but even not being right, it's okay. Why haven't the candidates running for the United States Senate, why were they silent? The Patriot Act. When I voted against the Patriot Act, for those of you who don't know, the Patriot Act, first of all, has a great name. It's a wonderful name. But here's what the Patriot Act says. The Patriot Act says that the United States government can listen to your phone calls, read your email, any time they want, if they think you might have said or done or ever known anybody who might have any connection to anybody who might be a terrorist. Guys, I'm the federal government. Don't trust the federal government. You can't. People fought and died for those very rights for your privacy. Now that doesn't mean that if you're a bad person, somebody shouldn't go to court, get a warrant, and do a wiretap. Fine with that. That's not a problem. And if you want to lower the standards of how they get those, fine. But I'm sorry. And I know that everybody thinks it's going to happen to them, not me. How do you know who's sending you an email? How do you know who's calling you? How do you know who used your phone? You don't. And how do you know who you're talking to, whoever it might be? How do you know about that? You don't know me. I don't know most of you, almost any of you. How do I know one of you hasn't one day bumped up against a terrorist? Now all of a sudden the federal government can read my emails because you might have donated to the wrong charity that you didn't know was a cover for a terrorist group? I'm sorry. I think that that's wrong. I think that's un-American, and I think it's giving up what people fought and died for 200 years in this country, and it's giving up what this country really is. Why do you think the rest of the world, not the rest of the world, some people in the rest of the world hate us? You think they hate us for our money? I don't think that's what it is. You know, there are other countries that are richer than us. I think they hate us for our freedom. I think they hate us because I can stand here and say anything I want and believe anything I want, and you can do the same. They can't stand that. They want you and me to live exactly the way they tell us to live, as they see the world. My answer is, hey, you want to live that way? Fine by me. You can't make me do that. That's what America is. I think you need somebody with the courage to see that and to fight against it when it comes up. But I told you I'd stop. I'm a politician, though, and we tend to handle it. I think I'm going to stop now and simply say, as I said, this campaign is really going to rest on you. I don't have the time, none of us do, to really get to know all the people who are going to vote. I think most people are going to make their decisions after they've researched it, checking with other friends and neighbors. What do you think? I think this guy was okay. That's how I make my decision most of the time. That's how most of us do. It's going to be a campaign about validation. And if it is, the more people that are validating my efforts, the more likely I am to win. And on top of it, I'm not going to have the most TV ads. I'm not going to be able to mail you 47 times. Not going to happen. I'll do what I can. I'll do my job. But you're the ones who have to make this decision. If you give it up just because somebody else had more TV time than I did, fine. We'll have less government for it, in my opinion. So with that, I think I'm going to stop. Simply, before I forget, specifically ask you both to consider. First, consider. That's all I ask. And once you consider it, then vote for it. And with that, I think I'm going to stop and see what's on your mind, because I'd really rather